So, first things first, before I start all this, I'm actually using two OBSs. Ooh. One is so I can actually show you guys stuff and not have to worry about everything being cluttered. But two is sometimes I will have to show you stuff that's like being captured and whatnot. And that can be a little bit of a hassle with just one OBS. And I think since this one isn't active, I can actually like go in settings and show you like normal things that you would see, so that's pretty neat.
Did you realize you were deafened at some point?
Yes, it's so that the Discord people, their audio isn't in the video, so it doesn't get overwhelming.
Gotcha.
So if you got questions, that is what the thread is for, so I can still answer all your stuff without people getting overwhelmed. Also, I have a blank canvas. That way, you know, we don't get instances like this where it's just like a infinite loop of the image, and that can be kind of disorienting as well. So I'm trying to keep this pretty clean and whatnot. This will be like roughly an hour long, give or take, how badly I explain things and questions and whatnot. So I am definitely filming it. This is the actual recording OBS. It's off to the side. I will be dragging this window over for some things, mostly I think like audio related, but when we get there, we will get there. But thank you for reminding me. I am actually recording the monitor this time instead of just like what OBS is capturing. But all right, so to begin, this is the OBS Studio class of sorts. This is pretty much what you will be presented with right when you open it up. Minus like probably all these audio mixers things. We'll be going over this stuff first before we dive into like the actual settings and some filters that might be helpful and things like that. But pretty much this black square is your stream canvas. Pretty much this is where you import everything and add text and graphics and, you know, just make it pretty and look good for your stream. So whatever is on this screen is what your stream should be seeing, or what you're recording should be looking like, kind of thing. Over here at the bottom left, scenes and sources, those are the two important ones. Scenes are literally what they are, different scenes, or they could be like different, I guess, like camera angles. You could think of it like that, that you want, you know, get ready kind of thing. And the sources are what the scenes are compiled of, you know, the different graphics and text and cameras and things like that. So I can give like a few examples, such as there, here we go, boom. See, we got like the Mario Party one, and we got my camera that would be up here, the social media graphics, the actual game, stuff like that. And this one for like HD games. Obviously I'm playing a game from like 2000, but here it is. And you also got like the desktop one, things like that. So you can switch between those, and then the actual sources are you know, the things that you compile it of. So I actually don't know what the image is, but let's just try to add an image, and let's add the B dasher because that doesn't get enough love. And see, now it's here, and you'll see like this red outline kind of thing. That is so you can resize whatever you need to, or potentially even like crop it, transform it, things like that. And we'll get a little bit more into that here in a little bit. But let's just get rid of that real fast. Your audio mixer is where you can actually adjust your audio levels of everything that you have added in. The AT2020 is my microphone. It is muted on this OBS, but if I were to do that, there it is. But it is recording on my actual OBS. And then these are my two inputs, depending on if my headphones are actually plugged in or not. Speaker volume is obviously the native output of your computer, and then the headphone ones, if you do have it plugged in, you do get some scenarios where you can actually have both playing at the same time. So like when I have my iTunes playing and I plug in my headphones, the iTunes is still set to the speaker volume, but then Discord will auto set itself to the headphones kind of thing. So you might have to adjust both at the same time. Or sometimes you'll get these scenario of like you know, you got the game audio going right here, and then you'll have like maybe Discord people, maybe you're doing like net play, something like that, so you'll have to adjust that accordingly from there. Scene transitions are also exactly what they say. I think native OBS Studio just gives you fade and cut kind of thing. So fade is like when you actually go to one scene to another, it'll actually have that subtle little fade kind of thing. And then the cut is just exactly what it is, just jumps right to the next one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's just you get right into it. Can be a little jarring, but sometimes, you know, if you get like a pop off, so something really cool happens, you just gotta jump like right into it kind of thing. And then with like the fade, you can actually adjust the time. So 300 milliseconds is the standard, so 0.3 seconds. So if you make it like 1,000 milliseconds, that's just 1 second. So the fade will be very long. You know, I guess you could use that for like dramatic effect, something like that, but probably 300 to 500 milliseconds is definitely where you would like to be. And then over here on the right, your controls, start streaming, start recording, fairly standard. Yes, you can actually do both at the same time. Granted that you should probably be recording somewhere that's not like your OS hard drive kind of thing, because if you got like a little bit of an older computer and your Windows OS is on like an old mechanical hard drive, and that's where all your games are, and then you start recording, you know, you got the game to run, you got OBS recording to it kind of thing, and you just got Windows kind of existing, you know, you might peg that hard drive at 100% and you'll be dropping frames everywhere. So make sure that, you know, you kind of allocate your resources a little bit more properly. That way you can not drop frames, everything looks good and things like that. Start virtual camera, most people probably won't use it, but pretty much what it is you are turning OBS into a virtual camera that you can then send its signal to some other capture program of sorts, like vMix or something like that. So like whatever's on OBS will then just become a quote-unquote camera for something else to be able to pick up kind of thing. So that is there if you need it to be, but I feel like in most scenarios most people will not be using that. Studio mode, probably one of the most helpful things within the whole program. It was such an excellent addition. Pretty much what you can do is you can just click it and you get two windows. The left one says preview, the right one says program. They should probably rename that to live. I think that would probably help most people, but pretty much what it is the preview window, you can actually go to a scene and actually edit it without the stream seeing what you're doing. So if you need to, you know, make some corrections or change the placement of something, like I can move the, you know, sub goal to like the top middle kind of thing, and then, you know, when the scene is all set and done, you can then just hit transition and now it's on the right side. That's what your stream sees, and then whatever was over there is now on the left for you to kind of work on and things like that. So it's actually very helpful. And then if you just hit transition again, boom, it go back to the original one kind of thing. And the cool part is you can actually edit scenes without having to transition over to them. So, you know, if you want to get prepared for next time, you can push that over there and you'll be hunky-dory kind of thing. And a nice little thing is the transitions right in the center. You can actually like pick what transition you want to do like right then and there. And you can also I was expecting these to be the transition edits. Oops, I think that's the plus sign. Yeah, right there kind of thing. So if you got multiple transitions, you can kind of do it from there. And even if you can test out what that would look like kind of thing. So boom. So definitely work on studio mode. And another little bonus that's kind of like studio mode a little bit that I'll throw in here. But again, I don't think most people will be necessarily using it, but it is a nice touch. If you actually go to view and then multi-view, and I'll just do windowed for now, it'll actually show you a bunch of your scenes all at once. So if you got like multiple camera angles, you can kind of keep track of everything like all at once. And you can actually go into scenes, right click it, and you can actually pick and choose which scenes are in the multi-view kind of thing. So again, I don't think most people will actually be using this, but it's a nice little touch. Nice little touch. And then settings, that's where all the real good juicy bits are. So I think without further ado, we can jump into that. Let's see if there are any questions. Can you switch between scenes and it'll still stream/record? Yes. As long as you are doing one or the other or both, as long as you know, just keep on going, you will be hunky-dory in that regard. Can you also have the chat box appear on top of the background, right? Yes. So I will actually go do that real fast. So this is actually like where my chat box is, and I'll just go to my Twitch chat real fast and type something in. Because thankfully over here in the sources, everything is technically layered. So like the chat, my Mario Party chat, is above my overlay. So as long as you layer it correctly, you will be able to, yes, have stuff like that. So let's just do that, and boom, there you go. So layers definitely do matter. You know, it's like Photoshop or Paint Tool SI, things like that. You can definitely do. So sometimes if something's not popping up correctly, you might have maybe just imported the game and it's at the very top layer. That's why some things are hidden, things like that. So that is indeed a thing. All right. How does one go about excluding a specific application from desktop audio on a specific source? In simpler terms, how would I make Chrome be excluded from just game audio or something? Ooh boy. Okay, so you make it sound like, let's say like I was just on Mario Party 3 and we got the game going, but then you also have like maybe like a stream in the background kind of thing. So I'll just put on like a stream real fast and let's see if that maybe kind of handles it. So I'll lower the audio so it's not like blaring or anything. My initial instinct for this would be that you would have to open up like the Windows audio manager, and then from there you'd probably just want to mute Chrome. That way everything else is still playing. Like if I got like a Discord ping or something like that, yeah, it should be going. That's probably the easiest solution to that. All right. I will take more questions later on. Let's go into settings before we get into like the even juicier stuff of like filters and things like that. So the very first window of OBS Studio, I don't think there's most things here that you should be concerned about. I think Acree, hopefully I said that correctly. I feel like that was actually default. Maybe they changed it in later versions where dark is a default, but this is what it will look like. I don't think there's actually too many things that people are, you know, going to worry about. One thing could be if you like to play DMCA music while you stream, you could just have automatically record when streaming enabled, so you don't have to save the VOD on Twitch and get strikes. They'll just be saved to your hard drive kind of thing. Another thing would be snap. So pretty much if you want everything, pretty much your sources to be nice and tidy, it'll actually kind of, you know, just grip to an edge of sorts kind of thing. So if you do Photoshop, you'll probably be accustomed to things like that. I think that might probably be the only one kind of thing. Those two probably the main ones that people would want to worry about. Over to stream, this is pretty much where you pick where you want to stream. If you have a particular server you would like to stream to, you can pick that. Auto normally does a good job. I think the server detection has gotten a lot better in recent times. I used to just have to manually pick kind of thing, because there used to be tools to let you know how congested servers used to be kind of thing. And then your stream key, don't show that to anyone else, or then they can stream on your channel, and suddenly you become Pornhub on Twitch kind of thing. Woo! Don't uncheck this if you are not a partner. I heard that partners can go up to 8,000 kilobits for streaming. Affiliates and non-partners and whatnot are kept at 6,000, like OBS does say. But your bitrate is dependent on your internet. But there's also a few other things like how good your PC is. Can it handle, you know, certain resolutions? Can it handle certain frame rates? Things like that that we'll get into when we get down to like output and video and things like that. But I think most people also only use like 160 kilobits per second audio. I don't know why you would need to go to like high fidelity audio on Twitch. Just like when people buy like 4K cameras, like we can't even handle 1080p, so it's kind of going to waste a little bit, I guess. Like it might come out like slightly cleaner kind of thing, but you know, I'd aim for 1080p stuff. I will show you my settings when we get there, but yep. That's max at 6,000. I know that the audio bitrate also goes into the cap, but to be honest, if you do, you know, 6,000 kilobit for your video and then 160 for your audio, Twitch ain't going to call the ninjas on you and things like that. Let's go to output. Normally, it would look like this kind of thing, and this is perfectly fine. If you want to use that, you know, it definitely makes it very uncluttered and straight to the point for you. So for the video bitrate, one thing that you will have to check is, can my internet handle the resolution and frame rate I want to stream at? So I'm actually going to pull up like Notepad real fast, and I'm going to put down some numbers for y'all. Let's try to make this a little nice and tidy kind of thing. Yeah, it works. Okay, so if you want to stream SD games, now I'm gonna do it like this. At 30 FPS, you will need roughly, I'll say like 500 to 1,000 kilobits per second, or 1 megabit per second to stream kind of thing. And if you want to do 60 FPS, I'd recommend like 1,500 kilobits per second, or 1.5 megabits per second kind of thing. Standard definition games obviously don't need too much bandwidth because, you know, they're very low pixel count. So if you want to stream, you know, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, PS2, original Xbox, granted, you're not using, I think, like component cables. I thought the original Xbox could do like 720p, something like that. Yeah, very not intensive at all, both on like your computer and your internet kind of thing. So there's that. For 720p games, if you want to stream that at 30 FPS, I'd probably recommend 25 to 3,500 kilobits per second, and we'll just do 2.5 to 3.5 kind of thing. 2,500 is definitely the lowest I would go, just to make sure that you know, it can still look pretty cool. There's not too much artifacting, things like that. And then for 60 FPS streaming, you'll want 3,500 to probably 5,000 kilobits per second, and then it would just be 3.5 to 5. And then I don't really recommend 1080p streaming, just because Twitch's bandwidth doesn't really let you have that great of quality with like minimum artifacting and things like that. So I'm going to say 900 to 936p games. I should put /streaming as well just for this one. You know, I'll just I guess I'll just do this. Will be 4,000 kilobits per second plus kind of thing. But pretty much I'm going to assume if you are going to stream at this high of resolution, you're pretty much just gonna go for 60 FPS kind of thing. And I'll just say, if you have the bandwidth, just go for the straight max 6,000 and it'll look really good. The reason why I put 936p is because you get like that. I think that is from like what I've seen and the research I have done, that is probably the highest resolution that makes sense for a computer to be able to like encode and put out, because it is divisible by 8, both the 936p and the 1664 resolution. So it's actually, yeah, 1664 by 936. But also like yeah, it's something that the bandwidth the bit rate limitations can actually handle properly, kind of thing. So but there's nothing wrong obviously with 900p. That is the more common resolution, and it's still a solid 16:9 aspect ratio kind of thing. So this is why I would recommend, if you do 1080p, I that's fine. You know, plenty of streamers still do it. It just seems wasteful, and you're not really getting the full benefits from it unless you are playing games that aren't very fast-paced, high action kind of thing, where there's not like a lot of motion. You know, if you want to stream your chess games at 1080p, more power to you. I'm pretty sure the encoder can definitely handle you moving your knight to d5 or other nerd things like that. But this is what I would recommend there. Your encoder is pretty much, are you going to be using your processor or your GPU to actually encode the stream and push it out? I don't have an NVIDIA graphics card in this computer, so you could probably just stick with X264. I know it says like hardware AMD. I've tried that. I didn't really like it that much, kind of thing. So you could probably just stick with X264. If you do have a beefy GPU, you should be able to see the NVIDIA NVENC encoder. And if you got like a little bit of a weaker CPU, but you got a stronger GPU, you can actually just use that to encode instead. And the NVENC encoder seems very nice. So that is definitely a viable option. For recording, if you want to record instead of streaming, or if you're doing both, these are your settings right here. The recording quality is pretty much like, did you want to keep it the same as stream? So if you're doing like 1080p, it'll obviously record in 1080p. If not, it'll start doing a little bit of compression to help not only save CPU power, but also file size if you don't have, you know, hard drives for days, kind of thing. Same thing for the encoder. You can use like the H.264 low CPU usage. That way recording isn't just also bombarding your processor like streaming is, kind of thing. And NVENC should also show up there. And this is actually good because you could use, you know, your processor for streaming, and then like your GPU for recording, kind of thing. So you can spread the resources where you need to, kind of thing. So not just your CPU or not just your GPU are hammered, kind of thing. I'm also going to show the advanced output mode. It's not, you know, anything crazy, kind of thing. It just gives you a little bit more options. These are mine, kind of thing. So the audio track, and you guys can probably look into this a little bit more, but there's one that says Twitch VOD track. OBS added this when the DMCA's kind of hit Twitch really hard, and what this lets you do is actually split up where your audio goes throughout the system. So like I could have, you know, the Twitch VOD track on track 1, and then just the normal audio tracks out 2. What that will do is the Twitch VOD track will actually send any audio source that's on track 1 to Twitch, and then any audio track that's on 2 will stay like within your own system, kind of thing. So if you want to play DMCA music but not have it on stream, you can add like your iTunes audio track to 2, or like, you know, your speaker volume to 2, and then you can have like your headphones and your mic set to 1, so that goes to Twitch, but then your music doesn't, kind of thing. So you can definitely pick and choose where audio goes, even on a just an output level, kind of thing. The encoder we already talked about. Rescale output is if, let's say, your base canvas, which is like where the game is back here, is like 1080p, but obviously you don't want to stream at 1080p because there's no benefit. You can pick your own resolution here. That way when your CPU is done encoding and it's gonna send it to Twitch servers, it'll actually rescale it for you, instead of you changing your base canvas and then maybe like your graphics are messed up because, you know, different sizes and whatnot. You made a 1080p graphic and now you gotta rescale it and things like that. Bitrate again is how much internet you are going to use to send it out to Twitch. The only other thing that's really important here is CPU usage. Most people probably shouldn't play with this, but pretty much what this is how much CPU power are you going to use to help encode the stream. Default is very fast. If you are dropping frames or OBS is skipping things like that, and it's not showing like dropped frames down here at the bottom, it would appear if you're actually streaming. You could probably up this to super fast or ultra fast to use even less CPU power. But if you actually go lower to like fast or medium kind of thing, you'll be using more CPU power to help, you know, like the image look better and have less artifacting. But to be honest, the lower you go, there's a lot of diminishing returns kind of thing. I probably wouldn't go any lower than like medium, but that also just kind of might be going a little bit too far, because you don't really see that much of a good benefit, and it does use up a lot more CPU power kind of thing. So to be honest, unless like you got like a 16, 20, 24 core processor kind of thing, I probably really wouldn't touch this. For recording, it pretty much doesn't change all that much. This lets you give the recording its own actual video bitrate kind of thing. I normally actually put this at 30,000 if, you know, I'm just kind of like recording like not stream footage kind of thing. It does take up a lot more space, but you shouldn't really worry about any artifacting in that regard. And then yeah, if you want to change your audio bitrate to 320, or was it like 224, or, you know, any variance, you can do that right there. This is where you can like name your tracks, and you can have each track have its own audio bit rate, so you don't have to waste any bandwidth in that regard. Most people, I doubt, will touch this, but it's there if you want it. And then replay buffer, this is a beautiful thing right here. What this does is you can actually select a certain amount of RAM to use while you are streaming and or recording, and what that does is it'll actually save a buffer. I normally set it to like 15 or 20 seconds of the footage that just happened, so you can literally have a replay waiting for you. So if, you know, a cool kill happens like in Unite, or there was a, you know, like a photo finish in Mario Kart, you can have this set to a hotkey, and it'll literally save the last 10, 15, 20 seconds of that footage, so you can have that replay. I don't have it on studio just because I normally just hit stream markers and I'll go and splice it from there and things like that. But for like my esports tournaments and things like that, that is a wonderful setting to have. Audio, very straightforward. If you have multiple microphones you need to plug in, maybe for like a podcast or something like that, you can choose them individually here kind of thing. Like this HDMI is all my capture card inputs kind of thing, but I only got one microphone, so boom, there it is. Like this desktop audio too. Reason why it's red is sometimes I plug in my headphones and I can have both my computer speakers and my headphones plugged in at the same time, and OBS will recognize them at the same time, and you can adjust them accordingly from there. I don't think there's anything else too crazy. The decay rate is actually, I would have to show this on the other OBS, but this line right here, you can pick and choose how like fast or slow it goes down kind of thing. But and then the other options are if you want push to talk or push to mute on any of your audio sources, you can set them there. And I believe this is also the delay as to like when that source would be able to talk or fade kind of thing. So not anything too crazy in the audio settings. The video settings do get a little bit more interesting here, just a little bit. So we'll probably actually talk about the common FPS first. So this is where you'd pick the FPS not only for like your streams but your recording, and aka your canvas back here. For us American folk, 30 or 60 is the standard. If you want to get like real precise, the 29.97 or 59.94 is what you can choose. I think most games actually run kind of at those frame rates, but it's just easier to round up kind of thing. For my European friends, you would want to go with 25 or 50. That is the frame rate they run at kind of thing. So they do got the PAL equivalent of frame rate here, and then if you want to go for like a more cinema look, I don't know why you would want that if you're streaming or recording or whatever. 24 is an option. You can also I thought you could type in your own option, but that's probably for the better that you can't. I'm not going to talk about the downscale filter too much, but it's how much you want OBS to try and beautify it a little bit, or if you don't want it to do any work at all kind of thing. These are your options, but base canvas is pretty much what is the resolution of the actual monitor that OBS is on. And an output scaled resolution is if maybe you want to record at like 1080p, but you want to stream at 720, you can set the output scaled resolution to 720. That way you can actually do two different resolutions in that regard kind of thing. So this would be really good, again, if you want to, let's say, like you're playing DMCA music, so you're going to save the VOD on your computer. You can record at 1080p, but only stream at like 900p. So you get the best of both worlds. You're capitalizing on what Twitch can give you via bandwidth, but you can also just record at, you know, insane bit rates and maximum quality kind of thing. You can do that here. But if you are just going to, if you don't have a need for this, but you still want to like rescale kind of thing, you can also do it via the output method right here. So it seems like a little redundant, but I guess again for recording you can do it that way. Hotkeys are if you'd want to maybe put that numpad on your keyboard to use, you can put like start streaming, stop streaming on simple buttons, so you can just hit that and it'll do it kind of thing. So we can let's just do the replay buffer. Let's just say, you know, I'll hit numpad 8 to start and then 9 to stop kind of thing. It's just that simple. Mostly trying to make your life easier if you don't have, let's say, a stream deck to work with, but you have, you know, the number pad that you never use on your keyboard. Boom, there you go. You can utilize stuff like that. And there's just a bunch. If you need to transition scenes or you want to set up studio mode, you know, you just hit 5 and now you can kind of just activate studio mode. Or if you need to put away, you can just put away just like that. So hotkeys are definitely useful. I'm more of the manual kind of person. That way I don't actually mess it up. How do I, oh, trash can, right. I'm blind. And then advanced, I don't think there's anything actually in here that's all too important for y'all. I think the only real important thing might be if you're streaming like an online tournament, like let's say you entered like an Apex tournament, or even I guess like Unite or whatever, you can actually set up a stream delay, and it's exactly what it is. If you need to delay your stream so there's not like stream snipers or something like that, you can do that. And I'm not sure if there's a limit. I've seen some people put it up to like a 5-minute delay kind of thing. But that's again only really useful if you don't want to get stream sniped constantly, because again, everything's delayed. So like what your chat said 5 minutes ago, they won't hear for 5 minutes kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's a general overview of the settings. Let's see if there's any new questions. I see Ender's about audio, so we'll definitely be talking about that. I think right now. So I think I might need to bring over the other OBS. I'm sorry about this. We're just gonna have to deal with it for a moment kind of thing, but I will bring up some audio filters, because I do believe those are probably a little bit easier to set up and more important to the stream than most other things. So you can actually right click the cog and hit filters, and boom, here we go. We got a bunch of these, and I will definitely try my best to explain these. Compressor is definitely probably one of the more complicated filters that's native to OBS Studio, so we can jump right into that. So pretty much what a compressor is, it's supposed to help bring down your highs but also bring up your lows, so your mic is supposed to sound a little bit more neutral the whole time regardless of what's happening. This is going to be super like hard and finicky to like show off properly, so most of the time you will have to play and tweak the settings yourself, because you know every room has different acoustics. Do you have the foam up? How close are you to your walls, kind of thing? What are your walls made of? Things like that. So I can only give you an explanation of like what everything does and how to, you know, potentially tweak things and go from there, but you will definitely have to listen in and adjust. So ratio, what that is when you go over a certain threshold, the compressor will bring your audio downwards, and the ratio is how much are you going to bring it down. So let's say I am 10 decibels over what I want to be, and my ratio is 2 to 1. What it's going to do is it's going to cut that overhead in half. So instead of being 10 decibels over, it'll cut it down to 5, kind of thing. So if I had a 5 to 1 ratio, that 10 decibels then becomes 2 decibels over, kind of thing. So you know, if you get really loud and scream and things like that, the ratio is definitely gonna help you a lot. But you don't want to be like super aggressive, because then sometimes you can just kind of like mute yourself, kind of thing. So again, that's where you'll like want to pick and choose and play with how much a ratio you want. For the threshold, that is when the compressor will start to kick in. I have mine set to 26 because I feel like I normally talk at about 20-ish decibels. I could probably adjust that a little bit better, but I have at 26 just to not be too aggressive. Attack is how quickly do you want the compressor to kick in when you do go when it reaches the threshold. I just have mine at 1 millisecond, so it's instantaneous. It'll kick in right as soon as I hit the 26 decibels if it needs to. And release is how quickly do you want the compressor to let off the settings. And then standard is just 60 milliseconds, which is still, you know, insanely quick. So, but the attack, again, I might have put it a little aggressive, but I want that stuff to come on. So if I start screaming, it can just, you know, definitely lower it to where it needs to be. And an output gain is if you're actually talking too softly, kind of thing, it'll actually bump up your audio to make it a little bit more suitable, kind of thing. So yeah, compressor can actually do like the best of both worlds, but damn, is it a hassle to set up properly. I'm not going to talk about the sidechain and ducking sources real fast, but a general overview is you will actually have a source that will be the ducking source. And what that means is, like, let's say I'm playing music, okay, and the music is at 20 decibels. When I start talking, kind of thing, it'll actually make the ducking source lower itself as long as the active source is going on. So like when I'm not talking, the music can go back up to its normal rate, but when I start talking, it'll lower itself. That way the audio can be a little bit more balanced without you having to go into your mixer settings every time, kind of thing. But there's other ways to do filters and whatnot that aren't so complex with like ducking and whatnot. But for the future, that is something to look into if you want to be super nerdy and whatnot, because damn, audio kind of sucks to work with. Next up is a noise gate. Pretty much if you have any, you know, simple white noise you want to not have in your feed, especially when you're not talking, noise gate's perfect, kind of thing. So if anything is below 32 decibels, it will not activate your mic. So if you just got, you know, simple, like maybe like a cat meow, or again just like a fan on low in the background, and you're not talking, you're kind of focusing on the game, your mic won't pick that up. And then for mine, when I hit 28 decibels, then my mic will start to pick up some stuff, and unfortunately from there you might get a little bit of that background noise, but for like when you remain quiet, your mic won't pick anything up. And there is a way to help eliminate even more background noise, and we will get to that soon. Noise suppression, again, is just that it will try to lower any noise that is below your suppression level. So I got mine at 28, so hopefully like you guys can't really hear the fans, but it'll probably still be there kind of thing. But it will try to lower any kind of that white noise out of your signal. For a little bit heavier background noise, you can use an expander. So if you got like, you know, your computer fans, or you got like a clicky keyboard or mouse kind of thing, you can use an expander to try and help. I probably should realistically turn mine off, because for me to actually kill the noise, I have to turn up the threshold like pretty high to eliminate it, but then I also just can kind of get washed out. But an expander is for the heavier noises that you want to try and eliminate kind of thing. So for like the keys, you know, when you hit them, see down here how it's kind of picking it up kind of thing. That's where the expander would try to kick in, and the ratio is the same, where if it goes over the threshold, however much it is, it tries to compress it down, and then if it goes below the threshold, that way it'll just eliminate it, period. But I'm not too fluent in this, just because again, when I was working on it, couldn't really get a good balance. Limiters are probably the #1 thing I think most people could definitely use kind of thing. So I'm going to actually switch scenes real fast over to the Mario Party one, because as you can see, the game audio stays at a constant 33.5, 34, and you might be wondering, how am I doing it? It is a limiter, and I use this on pretty much all of my audio sources, because you can actually tell it you can only go this high ever kind of thing. So you can see that it kind of wants to break away. So I'm actually going to mute myself to see how loud the game is without the limiter. And I will give you a heads up, it's gonna peak and it's gonna be disgusting. So loud noise incoming in 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, the game at its, you know, native value was definitely peaking pretty hard, and that's like one weird thing, being having a video background and going to OBS is, I was taught that you want to keep your audio levels between -6 and -12 decibels, but OBS makes it sound like if you're at like -9 that you're like in the peaking range. I find that a little bit weird, but who am I to complain? How is the limiter different from the slider? So the limiter is just a way faster, more straightforward way, because yeah, let me turn off the filter again, so loud noise incoming. You can actually just adjust your audio this way. The problem with this is it's not necessarily bad, but for me, I'll just use this video game example. Since my N64 and my Wii and my Switch all go through the same capture device kind of thing, they all have different audio levels, just natively, right from the get-go. They all have different audio levels. So I would have to adjust this bar for every console I'm playing on. But with the limiter, I could just set it to -34, and boom, they're all balanced kind of thing. They will all be the same audio level every single time. So you don't have to go in and nitpick, oh, I gotta have this bar at this, you know, at -10 for when I'm playing N64 games, and I have to have it at -18 when I do Switch games and things like that. You can just set the limiter on the capture card itself, and boom, you're good to go. Because that was actually a big problem I had before I redid my stream, is all my consoles kept on having different audio levels, and it was super annoying to deal with. You could set a limiter, and boom, you're good to go. So that's great. And also, it kind of works with the mic too. So as you can see, I'm going to talk a little bit louder. If I talk a little bit louder, I don't go above 15 decibels kind of thing. So, you know, the limiter actually also works with your microphone because it is an audio source. So I don't want to go above 15, so I will never go above 15. Unfortunately, even with like the compressor, if I go super high over it, it does sound a little shrill still. So, you know, there are benefits to it, but sometimes you just can't help popping off kind of thing. But I feel like if you can get the compressor settings properly, a nice noise gate to just block out general white noise and limiter, your audio could sound a whole lot better. And a little bit of advice when you are working on your compressor, if you just put in some, like earbuds and whatever you use, maybe it's just headphones, if you click the cog and hit advanced audio properties on whatever audio source is the one for your headphones, if you actually turn on monitor and output, you can hear yourself. That way when you adjust like the compressor settings, you can hear it live, so you can tell if it gets better or worse or things like that. So I definitely recommend turning on monitoring so you can hear yourself from there. I think that wraps it up. I think it does. There's a few other things, little tidbits I can help with. Oh, I saw Spitefire's question, so I will get to that. But so some tidbits I want to show you guys too that might help. So let's just import the B-Dasher again real fast. As you can see, it's way too big for our 1080p canvas. But the cool part is if you do Control plus F, it'll automatically fit the screen. So you don't have to use this red box to try and get it. Because if we do it like this, be like, ugh, you gotta keep on clicking and dragging and things like that. You just Control F and boom, it'll fit your canvas. Another little note is like when you are resizing, like let's say you got like this, but you need to make it smaller. If you hold Shift while resizing, it'll actually keep the size proportional, because if you don't, you can kind of just like do this and now you got all this extra space up top and up bottom, and that's annoying to deal with. Just hold Shift and it'll stay proportional. So if you're used to like free transform and Photoshop, it's similar to that kind of thing. Another nice little tidbit is if you right click and go to transform and edit transform, this is where you can do certain things that you just normally can't. Like you can tilt it. So let's just give it a 30-degree tilt. Boom. That's what it looks like. Just hit close, and then I'm gonna go back into it. And then this is also where you can crop the image. So they kind of hide it away in menus, so it's like a little obnoxious, but that's where you go. Like let's say like, oh, I cropped it too much, or that angle is like really bad, or it's just like it looks, I didn't need to do any changes. If you actually do Control and R, you reset any transformation you've done on it. So the resizing, the cropping, the tilt, things like that. Control R will be your friend with editing it if need be, and then Control F again will set it to the size the fit within the canvas. What else is there? What else? Oh, two more things. I know Spitefire asked about the chat box, so I will bring that up now. Pretty much you'd want to, you'll be using an external website for this. Most people use Streamlabs. Streamlabs is incredibly helpful for additional things to your stream. So I'm actually gonna pull OBS back over. I just realized I probably was recording that section all wrong. I was. Damn it, dude. I knew there was a reason I was using two OBSs, but that's Y'all can put lol into thread. Yeah, F. That's... I'll figure it out. I'll edit it or something. But okay, here's the general Streamlabs page kind of thing. And this is where you can set up like follower alerts, donation alerts, subs, chat boxes, things like that. So we will just go over to, let's just say all widgets at first. This is where you can find your chat box kind of thing. And then it'll give you a URL. And what you do with that is if you go over here to sources, hit the plus and hit browser source. This is where you can add it, and you would put in the URL here, and then you can edit the size right here for that. Let me drag that back over. And then you can also just pick how you want the chat box to look. If you just want no boxes, you kind of just want the text there, you can do that. If you want to be a little bit more retro with sharp angles and things like that. But I just keep it boxed that way. It's a little bit easier to see. Let me delete that. Some other things that are kind of nice within the all widgets is the emote wall. So pretty much if you post an emote in chat, it'll bounce around on my screen. Stream labels are like if you want your sub count to auto update, you could do it from there, or if you want like a sub goal bar, you can have that on screen as well, and that will also auto update. But alert box is where a lot of the stuff is at. So if you want to have followers, subscription, donations, raids, all those kind of alerts, you'll want to do it in here. The nice thing is you will get one URL that would literally just be a box that will host all of these. And if you're really good at coding, you can enable your own CSS or HTML plugins kind of thing. I am not a nerd, so I don't know that. So what I do is I just have a graphic, some music, and I pick where I want text to be kind of thing. Some nice things that you can do within this is you can set variation. So this right here, this alert is just for resubs or new subs kind of thing. Either of those. And then there's the graphic, there's the sound I want, how loud I want it to be. Heads up, you never want it at 100%, it'll blow out your ears. But come down here and you can actually see I have the different variations for if someone gives between 1 and 4 subs, 5 to 9, 10 plus, tier 2, tier 3, and you can, edit all these to have different graphics, different sounds, things like that. Like this one, apparently I had to set to 17%. That's nutty. If you need to adjust the font or things like that, there you go. So Streamlabs gives you a lot of customization right from the get-go. You don't gotta pay for premium or things like that. It's just right then and there. And then you can hit these buttons up here to even test them. So let's just test like a resub. Nice. Played like 4 times because of how the audio kind of echoed through. But Streamlabs is definitely probably the place to go if you need to set up any things like that. There's obviously other websites, but this is the one I use, so this is the one I'm going to send you to. They also have a chat bot, which is what I use for you. I actually used them before they became the Streamlabs bot. They were like Inkbot or something like that. So I've been using this particular bot for, gosh, like 4 or so years, and it's absolutely beautiful because you can just have like unlimited commands right on the bot. Nice dashboard. It'll even tell you like all your subscribers. Wait, what the fuck? Nice. I didn't know about this. Okay, I thought it was gonna tell you like the subscribers you had during the session, but that's so much better. If you have commands on timers that you need to like sell out with, make the bot post them automatically. Has like Discord integration, mod tools, you can play games, etc., etc. So the Streamlabs bot is also a very nice one. Definitely beats MooBot or Nightbot or whatever the hell else is out there kind of thing. Another thing to point out is the test of your internet. This is the website I like to go with. Speedof.me. I think they have the more reliable stuff. If you got, like a really picky ISP that might maybe give more leeway to like speedtest.net. you know, this will help show like true speeds. See right here, I'm not getting my gig. That's okay, because that's still really good speeds. But I should be getting 1,000. So definitely make sure to test your internet. Make sure you can even stream, because you could have a baller ass computer, but if you only got 1 megabit per second upload, you ain't doing a damn thing. So yeah, are there any other questions besides me messing up that one portion that I'll probably just either keep in the video, or maybe I'll try and go back and fix it, but I know I definitely fucked it up. Did I answer your question, Ender, on the audio? I hope I did. So definitely use limiters, because they're poggers. Ah. It's beautiful. There's also definitely plenty of helpful YouTube videos that'll help you with like compressor settings and stuff like that. But again, always take it with like a little bit a grain of salt to make sure that the settings are more appropriate for your needs rather than what the YouTuber says, kind of thing. But yeah, oh my god, it's been like an hour or some shit. So yeah, I believe that is it for this class. I still somehow messed up a section of it, but that's because I really got invested. Yeah, heck. I'll go back and see why I messed up. I don't think I messed up too terribly much, but I don't know what y'all expect from me. Who's winning this minigame? It better be Yashi, or he gets canned. Yeah. I hope I covered everything I did last time. Obviously, if people actually enjoyed this and found it useful, I can do a part 2 of this, because there are definitely other things that can be discussed, such as let me see if I can show this off. I'm not sure if it'll let me show it off. Okay, so if we go to like here. Okay, fuck. Will this work? Let's see if this will work. Just because I got 2 OBSs, so it kind of screws with my Stream Deck, but you can have... Okay, yeah, it's not working. But you can have transitions. So like I can hit a button and then like you know, this will move over to like where I need it to. So you know what, heck, I'll exit out of that one, see if it'll work. Okay, no, I just broke my Stream Deck even more. Hog. But there's, you know, better transitions you can do. You can do like in-scene transitions. There's more filters you can play with. There's chroma keying. There's just a lot more stuff to do. So yeah, without further ado, I think that's class. I'm gonna stop recording now. Bye, YouTube.